Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Novel Reviews, episode 62. Yeah, I haven't done one of these in a long time, but mainly the reason is because I haven't had any novels review. Now I do. The book I'm reviewing is the Star Trek book released just last year, mind you, and this book is Star Trek Prometheus, The Heart of Chaos, written by Bernard P. Perlipos and Christian Hamburg. Yes, believe it or not, this book was not published by Pocket Books. No, this book is published by Titan Books. Yes, as in the same publications company that's last published Doctor Who comics and Torchwood and the Sherlock manga, well, the English translation of it. Yeah, apparently they publish novels too. I did not know that. Now, this apparently is a third book of a trilogy. I had never read the first two books, but this kind of gave me a good gist of what the heck has been going on. Yes. Those of you curious though, okay, this is what the ship Prometheus looks like. Now, those of you curious about the ship Prometheus, when is this ship canon to the franchise? Yes, it is. It first showed up in an episode of Star Trek Voyager, mind you, called Message in the Bottle, which, by the way, the EMH from the episode actually shows up in here. Apparently his name is Tilk. Oh, and those of you curious, who played the EMH Mark II, who was the EMH for Prometheus? Andy Dick. Yes, Andy Dick played him. It is by far one of my personal favorite episodes on Voyager. Now, I don't have many favorite episodes of Voyager, but that one I love watching because it's just great episodes to watch involving the Romulans. Matter of fact, that actually is referenced in here. Yes, that episode referenced in here. Well, we also have two familiar. We also have another spaceship in here called the Bornas. I was curious about this particular ship. It wasn't until the end of the book I realized that, oh yeah, this is the same ship from the episode from Next Generation, which was the second appearance of Kempak in the series, where it also featured the return of Kalar, the woman who made it with Worf. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Worf's son's in here too. Yep. Yeah, the Bortas, which was the flagship of the Klingon Empire for years. Yes, this big, huge ship that showed up in that very episode. Let's see. I have it up here, the page, when it showed up on the actual series itself. It showed up in the episode, I remember it was season 4, I think it was. Yes. It made its first appearance in, noteworthy appearance in the episode, let's see. It's not Rifle Air. It's not Redemption. Yeah, let me see if I can find it here. The name of the episode. Huh. Yeah, but this ship has shown up on the screen before, so it is canon. And they also have two familiar characters pop up in this book. One is Spock. Yeah, he's in this book, along with Worf's son Alexander. Or say Ambassador Alexander Vershenko. Yeah, he shows up in here. And he plays a pretty good role in the book. They also reveal stuff that happened in the other books, like apparently the captain of the ship is apparently a glory hound. His name is Crom, and he does not get along well with his first officer, who is a woman. And it's nothing to do with the fact she's a woman. No, it has nothing to do with that. She had disagreement with him over the torture of prisoners. Yes, and there's also their ops officer. He gets a small amount of development here, and he's seen here for a few times in the book. Like he's seen first when they counted the entity that they actually counted here. Then he shows up in Medical Bay. Then he shows up toward the end. The way I didn't know, I thought this guy was introduced to Klingon until they described him as apparently where he's got pale skin and red eyes. Makes him kind of maybe the same species as the species that we call the Reno. Yeah, the story of this book is that they are searching for the people behind the attacks on the Clean Empire and the Federation. And they come to this cluster known as the Lambata Cluster. Yep. And yeah, so they try to figure out what it is, and of course, Crom has disagreements with Captain Adams. And apparently, this series is a follow-up to Star Trek: The Fall. Okay, yeah, and they mentioned at the end about the exploration program that the Enterprise E and the Robots are on, which is basically referencing other books. Yeah, they first count to begin the book. Partway through this book, they count this creature as the son of Rads. It's this gigantic creature that we described it. It's all red, and it apparently caused everybody to go freaking nuts. And having the first of 2 times in the book where we have the EMH show up. Yep, the EMH. Oh, sorry about the glare. Yeah, I forgot about the blanket back up. Yeah, the EMH shows up in here, and let's see what else. Yeah. EMH shows up in here, and yeah, he shows up, basically deems the whole crew unfit for duty, takes the ship out of harm's way, and of course they find this entity known as the White Guardian, which takes possession of the EMH, though they had to partially delete his medical database just so that he could understand with the Federations, but they withheld information about the conflicts, which was a smart idea to do because basically they're a peaceful organization. And they show an image of the Son of Reds, and he's like, I'm familiar with this one. And I love the captain's words where he's like, a picture worth 1,000 words. Yeah, makes perfect sense. And how they deal with this creature is quite bizarre. Apparently it's handled off screen. It's handled off page, where you have a Reno, who is actually an officer on board the ship. I think he's the helmsman. Pilots a shuttlecraft down to this planet where this creature is. And apparently it's suggested by this White Guardian to kill this creature and set him in prison again. Okay? Yeah, and the people behind the attacks are a group known as the Purifying Flame, a terrorist organization, and somehow the Bortas basically find this location by pulling a maneuver from Enterprise. Yes. Yeah. The only reason I'm familiar with this is because it was an episode of the series which actually featured Arch meeting the designer of the Xindi weapon back in season 3 of the show, and he kind of tricked them with thinking that they escaped prison and gave him coordinates where the weapon's being built. This is kind of a similar situation, except they're on a hollow suite, which I never knew Klingon ships even had these at all. I would think they probably would, but I never suspect they did, because that was a strange thing about the Klingon ships from the Next Generation era. You never saw the interior of them that very much. All you saw was the bridge, their mess hall, a little of the corridors, and that's it. Yeah, very rarely you saw in-ear room on the Klingon ships because, well, show is called Star Trek and focus on Federation. Not much on Klingons. Yeah. But at the end of the book, the Bortas is destroyed. And all lost except for prisons they captured, which they captured. They mentioned that there's this Klingon task force came to the cluster, and Adam's like, we're going off the solo jumper. You want to pitch in? And the captain's like, sure. Yeah, kind of like preparing for a hunt. They captured a ship, but the crew commits suicide. So later on in the book, Crom tries to do a similar thing, except he sets the lower things to capture all the crew alive. 5 people. So when they find the location of this thing, of this shipyard, which they search for pretty much almost the entire book. Yeah, so, and Crom was like, yeah, we found a way to deal with the creatures. Like, okay, be back here soon. Like, more glory for me. Yeah, he's a glory hound. Eventually, because, well, his first officer is very disagreeable with him, he stuns her, tells his ops officer, take her to the escape pod, along with the 5 Reno, and shoot at Ambassador Rosango where you're at, and stun him and take him to the escape pod too. As for what happened to this particular ops officer, unknown. It's possible he may have died, but he was quite an interesting character. I liked it when they have featured him on here, but it seems like a lot of the time, like after he was put in the medical bay, yeah, he wasn't featured that much until toward the end of the book, because he was in the medical bay the whole book. This book is really thick. It's long. It is roughly like a good 355 pages. Oh, I should also mention, though, the chief engineer, Jenna Kirk, a descendant of James Kirk from the original series. Now, those of you curious, though, because Spock's on board, does he ever interact with her in the book at all? Not really, no. It's kind of bizarre. I'm like, a descendant your best friend is on the ship and you don't interact with her. Maybe he did in the previous book. I don't know because I never read the previous 2 books, which they were the Fire with Fire and the Root of All Rage. I have not read them yet, but I probably read in the near future. One thing I do appreciate about this book is the writer actually remembers, oh yeah, the ship can actually break into 3 smaller ships. And that's used very well in here. If you watch Mention the Bio, they only did it twice the whole episode. Like, they did it like partway through the beginning and they did it toward the end of the episode, which, yeah. Here they did it like several times in here, but, yeah. This overall, fantastic book. I highly recommend if people are fans of Star Trek. And also people fans of the original series, because Spock's in here, definitely Next Generation. And if you like Star Trek The Fall, you like this too. Though this features a plot as Star Trek The Fall, but at least it's similar. And it does follow the events afterwards. And of course, and Adam's like, okay, like 20 book is like, okay, after this crisis is over, I'm putting the ship in repairs, and I'm giving the whole crew 2 weeks leave. What a smart captain. Brilliant idea after all this big crisis. Yeah. This book is fantastic. This book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good of a book. Yeah. So yeah, that's particularly it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my reviews of Dragon Ball Super, Boruto, the newest chapter of My Hero Academia, and 7 Deadly Sins. Okay? But to see you next review. Bye.